Good morning， 大家早上好，各位领导、各位嘉宾，非常欢迎来到2023创新中国论坛。今年的主题是 Science Behind LOHAS， 所以 LOHAS 可能是叫 Lifestyle of Health and Sustainability。可能这个我第一次在琢磨这个 LOHAS。还是在2007年的时候 when I was with Unilever Technology Ventures, we were thinking of starting a LOHAS fund back in 2007. And at that time, LOHAS is really for, in our mind, like the conscious, health-conscious consumers, the niche tree huggers, and so at that time. And fast forward 15 years, we believe that LOHAS has really went from a nice to have, a niche sector, to really a must have. So why? So globally, 37 billion tons of CO2 is emitted every year. That's a huge number. So let's all remember that. So 37 billion tons of CO2. And so we all know Paris climate pledge, which says we shouldn't increase the temperature by more than 2 degrees. But by 2017, we already have increased 1 degree. So therefore, we only have 1 degree left before that 2050 or 2060. So really, we are in a very big challenge. So besides the temperature rise, the global warming, our ocean is also acidating. So the reason is that with less and less the organic plants in the ocean, it absorbs less CO2, it takes away less CO2 for carbonization. So more of the reactions, the carbon gets into the water and the ocean is becoming acid. I believe nobody wants the ocean to be an acidic ocean. And we are all aware of the plastic pollution issue in the sea as well. We have a huge panel today specifically for plastic recycling. So with all those challenges, we really are looking for a leaner, cleaner, and a healthier, sustainable future. That's to everyone's goal. And our belief is that it's really changing the material cycle. We are CM Venture invest a lot in materials, and so we look at the material cycle. What do we mean by material cycle? So the material cycle starts with raw material. So previously, the raw material come from petrol and other natural resources that has been given to us by nature over billions of years. But now we cannot deplete these resources, and we need to change the raw material to more organic, more biosourced, more renewable sources. So that's the beginning of the material cycle in the raw material. And in the synthesis and the processing side, before we used to discover material by basically trial and error. We do lots of experiments. We take the trial methods and we take our time to discover material. But that takes a lot of resources. So in the future, we should use machine learning and AI more and more for the material discovery side and for the development and creation. So on the development side, we should focus on less carbon, the decarbonization. When we design the material, design the process, we should already think about it. And in the manufacturing side, we aim to use clean energy. So we look at a lot at the replacement of the existing process with electrification. So electrification as an energy source for the processing of the materials. In the engineering service, in the engineering design part, we focused before really on property and costs. And now the focus is really changing. We see a lot of new design and product with a more focus on the carbon footprint. So instead of just focus on property and cost, it's changing to the carbon footprint being a very big driver in material selection. So we see a lot of driving force from consumer brands that are demanding the supply chain to supply materials with a lower carbon footprint and to document that. And in the product design and the manufacturing side, previously we are used to a large chemical plant. It's about mass manufacturing at lowest cost. That has been the driving force in the last 20 years. But now the manufacturing is changing. So design for recyclable, made with materials that is through additive manufacturing, automation, and today we will talk a lot about biomanufacturing in terms of manufacturing with bio factories and bio plants. So in the application in different industries, this is we often get a question like, if you invest in materials, why did you invest in Gulf Hydrogen, like the hydrogen equipment company? The reason is, in fact, the industry is changing. So the material is applied in industries, and we really clearly see the shift in industry. So previously, like the oil and gas, construction, electronics, semiconductor, what's growing in China today or globally now is becoming more hydrogen, EV, wideband gap, semiconductor materials, alternative foods. Those are all high growth industries. So all our portfolio companies that were in consumer electronics before last year all kind of suffered and all had to switch their industry focus or expand into new industries like the EV, the renewable, and so on. So the industry is changing in very fundamental ways. And if we look at the end of the materials, then you are looking at the end of the material cycle or the end of material life. Before, these are disposed or discharged. And now what we are changing to is a waste valorization. So from CO2 to materials, you are going to hear from our portfolio company Econic later today. And actually another of our portfolio company, NYS, which is turning waste to energy. So that's all at the end of the material cycle. What are we going to do? Yeah. So in the final stage in recycle and regeneration, before we have very low recycling rate, and it's now becoming very fashionable to reuse, regenerate, recycle, and upcycle. So we are at CM Venture, we look across the board in the reuse, regenerate, recycle, upcycle of everything from plastics to batteries to solar panels and so on. That's really coming. So I just opening the conference to with this views that we are all here to invest in science behind LOHAS, because lifestyle of health and sustainability needs a lot of scientific innovation, and in both theory, in practice, in manufacturing, in delivery. And that's what we do, is to invest in the science behind LOHAS, and that's the conference theme today. Thank you.